All right, fire them up!
I know I said I was going to wait to the end, but I don't think I need to. As far as men who have made anime, there are very few names that can stand alongside of Shinichiro Watanabe. When you have things like Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop on your resume, just to say that he's legendary, that's kind of an understatement. So when I heard that he was doing a new anime with Chad Stahelski and Toad to help flesh out the action sequences, I was all for it. I said, bring it on. There was nothing you could have told me that was going to keep me away from watching it. Perhaps maybe I should have toned down my expectations and I wouldn't be in the boat that I'm in now. Shinichiro Watanabe's new anime called Lazarus revolves around a new drug created by a Dr. Skinner named Hopna. Now, the drug is supposed to be some new wonder miracle cure all that is just, it'll cure everything. And no matter what ails you, you take it and you feel better. But of course, but as all humans do, it started to be abused and it turned into a drug that was basically numbing everybody. Everybody started to abuse it. Well, Dr. Skinner then disappears and he reappears a few years later and says, well, guess what? Actually, the drug is going to mutate inside of every single person that has taken it and it's going to kill them. So you have 30 days to come and find me. And if you do, then I'll give you the cure. If not, then, well, mankind has met its end. Kind of a crazy concept, but I like it. But while half of the world is going crazy and deciding to just go out with a bang, the other half is just saying, hey, you know what? If mankind is going out this way, then that's just fine. But leave it to a handful of people to decide that, hey, this is not how we're going to go out. We're going to find Dr. Skinner and force him to give us the vaccine for this drug that he's giving everybody. So enter the new Lazarus team brought together by auspicious circumstances to track down Dr. Skinner and force him to get that vaccine. The main character, Axel Gilberto, is a man who was in prison for 888 years. Not for what you think. It's all very innocent to a certain extent. And he is forced to work with a new team codenamed Lazarus to track down Dr. Gilberto. I'm sorry, track down Dr. Skinner. Now, that team itself is put together and they are all very capable. At the same time, they are all very aloof. They can do everything that they're tasked to do, and they're all very good at their specific skill sets of this 5-man team. But the problem is that they are all, like I said, they are all very aloof. It kind of seems like they don't want to do it or they just don't care to do it, even though that their job is very serious. They're literally out to save the world, but they go about it in such an aloof way. It really does almost seem like they just don't particularly care, which as you're watching the series, it just kind of throws everything off as you watch it. And watching the action specifically, I can see why they brought Chad Stahelski in. A lot of the action sequences are a little bit tidier than I've ever seen from anything from Shinichiro Watanabe. Not that anything he's done before in the past was bad, but this seems a little bit more Hollywood on top of everything we've ever seen before from him. So I understand why they brought Chad Stahelski in order to tidy up the action sequences, and they are all actually really good too. I especially love the gunfights. They seem slightly more grounded and more realistic, more real world than they would in typical anime. So his fingerprint, Chad Stahelski's fingerprint, you can see it all over this. It's a handful of sequences that I've saw in this anime that I've seen in John Wick movies. So definitely when you're looking at it and you see the action sequences, you can say, okay, I understand exactly why they brought Chad Stahelski in. And much like all the other anime you've seen from Shinichiro Watanabe, the music is beautiful. Much like Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop, and I'm going to go back and forth with those a little bit more as we go on. The music in this is very eclectic. You get a ton of different genres of music in this: jazz and bebop, big band, a little bit of hip hop in there, rock and roll. There's just so many different types of music as the series has gone on, but that is very much in the vein of what Watanabe has always done. He is a big fan of music. He's an audiophile, so and I understand that totally, which is why most people fell in love with Cowboy Bebop, as did I. But this one specifically, Lazarus, it does exactly what you were expected to do as far as the music goes. You go in expecting it to be a lot of really good music throughout it, and the music to fit and to set the tone as the series grows along, and it does that. So that's very on point for what we've seen Watanabe do in the past. But the elephant in the room is the question that I think all of us have. Is this like, or is this close enough to Cowboy Bebop for us to get very excited for it? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. Much like Cowboy Bebop, the Lazarus team is a just a group of people brought together under different circumstances, or just one big weird circumstance, piece by piece, and they are all out to do a job, one thing or another. Like I said, the music is very much the same. It is future. It is set in the future, just like Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop is a spaghetti western set in space. This is very much just action slash comma drama set on Earth itself, on the ground. But they do share the idea that they're both in the future, and a lot of what is in Cowboy Bebop, with Earth being dystopian, this can actually be seen as a dystopian at the same time. I know a lot of people won't see it that way. Even though you do have functioning society, a lot of what is going on with the doomsday scenario, you have this large swaths of people who are homeless, and they talk about the like income disparity and the number of poor that are living on the street. So it is kind of dystopian in a way as you watch this one, and with same as Cowboy Bebop. From Cowboy Bebop to Lazarus, the main characters of the team very much do mirror each other. Axel is very much like Spike Spiegel. Doug is very much like Jet Black. I believe her name's Christine. I'm forgetting it right now off the top of my head. I don't have a script going on, but Christine is very much like Faye Valentine. Um, all the characters on the Lazarus team has some sort of, and the opposite, or a lot in common with the Bebop team. The wrong thing you really don't get on Lazarus team is the dog, like Ein from Cowboy Bebop. But I guess you can say Leland is like the dog. Is very smart. Is there here and there for, even though he's straight laced, he's here there for a little bit of comic relief every now and then, but he's just there to fill out the team. So it's five people versus four people and a dog, but it's, you got an equal amount, and they all do basically play similar types of characters on both sides of the equation. Now, what Lazarus does not have versus what Cowboy Bebop did have, which makes it not just a classic, but what makes it stand out as much as it did in the era in which it came, is there's a lot of mystery to the all the characters. For example, in Cowboy Bebop, we find out later on in the series that Spike is missing one eye. One of his eyes is not real, and we know early on, and we find out that Jet's arm is not just mechanical, but it's completely replaced. His arm is fake as well. Spike even goes so far as to say, "Hey, I got one eye that's fake and one eye that's real, and his real eye is stuck in the past, while his other one is constantly looking toward the future." But he still doesn't tell us what went down for him to lose an eye and get it replaced. Jet doesn't actually tell us why he lost his arm. When you look at the Lazarus series, you figure out everything about these characters very early on, within the first two or three episodes. You know their motivations, you know their backstory, you know why they were brought to the team, their benefactor, and why they were all specifically picked for this mission. You know everything. There's almost no mystery to it. If they would have saved some of those things about the characters in Lazarus until later in the series, or maybe not even told us at all, just kind of had the characters kind of keep it to themselves and just say, hey, you don't need to know that we're on a team and we have a job to do. I think the series would flesh these characters out just a bit more, and you would feel for them and you would gravitate them just a little bit more, because that air, that mystery, as we do in Cowboy Bebop, you would feel like, hey, these guys are all flawed, which makes them more human, which makes them more approachable. Instead, we get a bunch of characters that are not bad, but they seem very much just almost too capable to care about what they're doing. At the same time, they act aloof as if they don't care what they're doing. So the justification for who they are and the characterization for what they show us, they don't jive, they don't mesh. So the characters kind of become what's the word I'm looking for? Almost boring. Lazarus also suffers from the fact that the story that you can tell that we're trying to be told, it's watered down. We don't get enough of it through the main character's actions. We get monologues about how society sees pain and how we deal with it, and self-medication, and we get these other smaller themes about homelessness and transgenderism sprinkled in here and there, but there's never really any real gravitas to make us care about the themes that are obviously trying to be explained in the series. Like I said, it's very watered down. There's very little there's very little for us to really sink our teeth into and to get pulled into. Yes, it's only 8 episodes and they have 5 more, I believe, to go to 13, but still, you just don't feel what we were expecting to feel with these characters, because again, these characters are capable of doing everything that they're tasked to do. They just haven't completed it yet, so we know that they're going to do it, which is why I'm actually doing the review of this early, because I can already see the end and how it's coming. But we don't really get pulled into the story enough to care about the characters, and I think that lends to the fact that we've learned everything about them so early on. We don't There's no, like I said, there's no mystery to the characters, and I wish they had left a little bit of some of that mystery in for us to sink our teeth into throughout, that would last throughout the series all the way up to the very end. Overall, why I tend to have, be enjoying what I've watched so far, and honestly, it feels like the characters are unbothered, very unbothered by what they're trying to do. There's a lot of impending doom. You're talking about literally everybody in the world could be could be dying within this 30-day span before they find Dr. Skinner and force him to make a vaccine. But they seem to just be like, just going about, going through the paces and going about their day as if nothing is actually going to ever happen. And honestly, if we get to the end and that's the twist, where Dr. Skinner was lying about it, and he's just showing everybody what they're actually made of in order to force them to stop using it, which I think that's kind of what's going to happen. I That's going to be a complete letdown. I kind of want them to actually find a vaccine and to pass it out and save as many people. Some people actually die, but they start to save as many people as they possibly can. A lot of provocative ideas that don't quite hit home. They don't land. And even with 5 episodes, I don't think they're going to be able to get them to land all that well. So that's just going to be basically a strike against the series itself. But I do find it to be a worthy successor to Cowboy Bebop, just as Cowboy Bebop was an even greater successor to its predecessor, Outlaw Star. And if you've never watched Outlaw Star, believe me, you need to watch it. It's Once you watch it, then watch Cowboy Bebop, you'll understand why I say that Cowboy Bebop is the spiritual successor to that. All three of these series they're very well done. They're very nice to look at. It's just that with Lazarus, there's all of these things going on that makes the series feel disconnected at the same time. Maybe within the last 5 episodes, all that can turn around, but I don't think it will. But if I'm wrong, I'll come back and tell you I'm wrong, and that the series was actually a lot better than I thought a lot better than I thought it was. I don't have a grade for it right now because, like I said, the series isn't over, and I do want to wait till the end ends completely before I give you a full grade on what I believe of it. And the only reason I was doing this review of it early is because I think the last 5 episodes aren't going to hit. We've gone through 8 episodes, and where I was slightly underwhelmed with the first 3 or 4 before I talked about it before, I'm very underwhelmed still. Like I said, I'm enjoying watching it because it's Mappa, which means it's very good animation. The action is pretty good. I do like the concept and the story within it. It's just that all these other things going on, they don't quite mesh. So I can't see how they're going to fix all of the problems with it in 5 episodes. But like I said, I'll give it a shot. And once the last one is completely gone, I'll tell you what I think of it altogether. So that's my very early review of basically the only the first 8 episodes of Lazarus. If you're watching it, hey, just wait. Don't tell me what you think of it yet. Tell me what you think of it so far. Then by the time it's over, we'll come back and we'll talk about it and we'll review the entire thing from top to bottom, and we'll see if this ship actually lands as well as I hope it will land. But for now, we shall end this episode the same way we end all episodes. God bless. I love you and peace. And we'll see you in the next one.